All right, guys. Today we are going to be replacing the left flipper solenoid in my Extreme Gaming Cabinets virtual pinball machine. So these are what the solenoids look like. They are actually model number, I wrote bad on here to make sure I kept which one, but SNLS 135 HD. Now, that translates to basically an SW3 starter solenoid when you look that up. So these things, love them or hate them, they give you the best replica sound that you can get in a virtual pinball machine. Other people say use contactors. Contactors to me sound funky. There's another one out there called Thunderclaps that use a metal thing that's actuated. Again, they sound clunky. Some people, I'm not going to say his name, but well, I'll just say Tom. He pointed out on the site that one of the things that you have with a pinball machine is you can have solenoids that fire very rapidly. And with that, only a solenoid like this can replicate that sound. Contactors are too slow. The ones that even come close to sounding good are 24 volt contactors, so you need a bigger power supply in there. They're not 12 volt. So there's just a whole bunch of reasons as to why these are the best thing to use, in my opinion, in a virtual pinball machine. The problem with these is that it's really a crapshoot as to how long they last. Extreme Gaming Cabinets configures their settings so that when these fire, they're triggered on for fractions of a millisecond and then they're released. So when you do a catch with the flippers, you're not holding the solenoid open and burning it out. It fires, you get the feel, the sound, and then it's turned off in the software immediately. Less than a second that it's on. And a solenoid is capable of rapid firing. So if you think of pop bumpers in the back of the machine, you know, a ball bouncing off of that, ricocheting, firing, 10 times in 2 seconds, these can replicate that. Where a contactor really struggles. I don't even think it can do it, but if it does do it, it's weak. It really struggles to fire that many times without being delayed. So back to the problem with these. It's really a crapshoot as to how long they last. I used to have a CJ5 Jeep, and what this really is that it's a starter relay. It's a solenoid, but this is essentially a Ford starter relay. I went to the auto parts store, bought a new one, came home, put it in the Jeep, it'd be dead out of the box. I went back to the auto parts store, bought another new one, and come home, put it in the Jeep. It started once, it started twice, and then the third start, it died. I've gone through 3 or 4 of these things in a Jeep at a time. I got to the point where I was buying like 3 packs of them, which is what I bought this time. I bought a 3-pack of the solenoids just in case, because I learned my lesson with the Jeep. Anyway, and then I got one and it lasted the rest of the lifetime of the Jeep. So you can get these that last 2 years, you can get them that last 2 weeks. So they're a $10 part. In fact, it was $29 for a 3-pack of these off of eBay. I went to my 3 different auto parts stores here and nobody had them. So everybody had the black ones. These are the pros, the heavy duties. The black ones are the standards. So you don't want the black ones. You want the heavy duties. You want the red ones. So anyway, you might have to get them online off an auto parts store. I got mine off of eBay because they were the fastest shipping that I could get. So I bought a 3-pack and we're going to replace them and test. So I pulled this out of here. I thought I recorded pulling it out, and I didn't. I did capture the picture of where the wires went, What you'll see in here is we have a red wire and a black wire. It's just 2 wires to hook this up. The black wire is going to go on one of the mounting thugs. That's the ground. And the red wire comes off of this terminal right here where my thumb is indicating. So we're going to attach those 2 wires. Actually, we're going to attach this wire outside because there's enough lead. And then we're going to use 2 screws, hold this thing back in the cabinet, and it mounts right in here like this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, mount it. I'll come back and show it to you mounted, and then we'll turn on the machine and do a little testing. All right, here we are. We've got our solenoid remounted in its correct position. It's fastened securely, and our wire is fastened up here on the top pole. I'm not sure exactly which pole that is, but what you want to do is, before you remove an additional solenoid, you want to take a picture. You can see this one back here where that lug is mounted to. You want to take a picture of it just to make sure that when you go to replace it, you get the wires back where they're meant to be. Everything is back in here. Everything's solid. I do use a light when I'm working in here. You can kind of see it. So I want to tell you something. Be careful of the knob here for the stern shaker motor. I was in here working around, and you can, if you goose this thing up really high, what you'll notice is sometimes that vibration when it goes off messes with your plunger and some other things in your cabinet. So be careful when you're working in here that if you take note of where you have your shaker motor set. It's typically set by Extreme Gaming cabinets when they ship the machine, but as you're in here, mine's a Gen 1 cabinet, so I don't have the pretty yellow board with the stickers and everything labeled the way the new stuff is. But I have switches to turn off the matrix and the LEDs, and you know, your amps are in here, but just be careful if this switch turns really easy. So I pretty much have it set in the middle, which is plenty. Again, that's a real stern shaker motor, so it'll vibrate the hell out of your cabinet. So anyway, what we're going to do now is, now that the solenoid's remounted, we're going to get in and we're going to test it and see if it works. So fingers crossed. Let's do that. Let's boot the machine and go in and do some testing. All right, let me mute this a little bit. So we have rebooted the machine, and I'm going to show you the easiest way to test to see if the flipper coil is working. So if we go into a table, let's just go here. Vpin Workshop is one of my favorite. And for anybody that doesn't know, the Austin Powers table is one that's great to test anything on. It's my go-to table for testing. The reason is that, let me take care of the sound here. Hold on. Let's run the sound down so you can hear me. So, as you can hear it, the gear motor works Dr. Evil coming up and down. If you go through the spiral hole up there, it works the blower fan. So those are 2 pieces that work. You get it actually through the spiral thing. It not only works the blower fan. Let me turn this down. It's driving me nuts. Okay. So it also works the shaker motor. So you can test out the shaker motor, the gear motor, and the blower fan, as well as the other solenoids on the table. You got pop bumpers in the back, you got the slingshots here, and you got the flippers. So the easiest way to test that the solenoid is working is to load some credits in the machine, which you also, fires the solenoids when you do that. But turn the volume on the table the whole way down to nothing and launch the table. So you can hear the gear motor working. And when you shoot the ball here, that flipper's working, but this is the most important one. You're not getting table noises. So you're not getting any of the ball noises from the game playing. and there goes the gear motor again. But you're not getting any of the sounds of the ball rolling on the table or any of the pop bumper sounds or anything when you turn the table volume the whole way down. So you can literally hear that our solenoid is now firing. Now, I want to point something else out if I can catch the ball here. I talked about this a little bit. When this solenoid fires, I can sit here with an Extreme Gaming Cabinets PC and these, or PC, a virtual pinball machine rather. I can sit here and hold this flipper as much as I want, and you do not have to worry about burning that solenoid out that we just replaced. The reason being, and I'm going to try to explain this again, I know I talked about it a few minutes ago, but it fires, and within, I think it's 1/100th of a millisecond, it turns the solenoid back off. So it gives it just enough power to fire and then cuts that power to it. So you're not going to burn the solenoid out simply by doing a catch and holding the ball here. Just want to make that real clear, because some people will say, oh, you burn them out, they can't play. People that say that don't know how to configure the software for the Saint Smart boards and the Vpin software. I shouldn't say they don't know how, they just might not know this technique or something, because what you should be doing is turning them off so you don't burn them out. And that's something that Extreme Gaming Cabinets does. So, as you can hear, our solenoid is now working. Now I'm going to show you a different way to do this. Let's get out of the table. I'll go over this real quick too for anybody that's new with a machine to get it. When you are cycling through tables, do not launch a new table until you see your LEDs come back on. If you do, you're going to mess everything up and you'll just need to reboot the machine. And that's not a Extreme Gaming Cabinets thing, that's a pinup popper thing. So you want to make sure that your LEDs are changing as you're moving through tables. But we're going to hit the coin button here to bring up system exit, and we'll press it one more time. You can actually press the punch it button, and then you press the punch it button one more time, and that will exit us out to the desktop. So let me grab a mouse, and I'm going to show you another way to test out your solenoids. So if you come over and you go to open up the help documentation, but you come over here to, let's see here. So I didn't film that very well. Let's do that again. So on my system here, you can see I'm opening up help and utilities, and then I'm going to go to documents. This is fun to do, holding a phone while you're doing it. You have a folder in here. It's called USB 8-channel 12 volt. Open that up. Go to USB 8 Relay Manager. See here. And this is the utility for the Saint Smart boards that are handling all of our relays. So you find the executable in here, USB 8 Relay Manager, EXE. It'd help if I could click and hold the phone. I'm going to minimize that and pull this down here where we can see it. Now, you'll notice it says board not found. This is where it gets a little fun if you have a version 1 cabinet. If you have the version 2 cabinet, it's much easier because things were changed around a little bit and you'll have that nice pretty labeling and everything that's in there. I'm going to try to get the phone in here so you can see this. There are 2 Saint Smart boards in an Extreme Gaming Cabinets machine. Let me pull this in here, get some light. There's one board that's right there, and there's another one right back here. And if you look on these boards, there is a USB cable that is plugged into them. What you have to do to get this software to work properly is disconnect one at a time so that it'll find the board. With 2 of them in here, the software gets confused and doesn't launch. So the one that I need to test is actually this one over here. So it's going to be too difficult for me to do this holding the light and the phone at the same time, but I'm going to reach in with my hand and just pull out that USB cable just enough so that it disconnects, and then we'll come back up to the software. So give me a second here to get this light out of here to do this. I do it by feel. you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing, but you feel for the USB cable. Where is it? That one's in the way. Yeah, it's not easy. And then you just back it out a little bit and you'll hear it tick. You don't want to pull it the whole way out because not being able to see it really makes it difficult to push back in. So it's pulled out. Now if we come up here to the software, the light out of the way, we come up here to the software, we can open relay board. Clicked on open relay board. Sorry, I didn't have the phone close enough for you to see it. And now instead of this red box up here that says board not found, it says board found. So we go over here to manual mode, and if we click any of these and turn them on and off, that is our left flipper. But you can actually go through and test all of your relays to make sure they're all firing in case you have some in the back of the machine that may not be working. So you can hear all 8 of these relays are working to fire the solenoids. Now, when you plug this back in and unplug the other board, what you can get is the blower fan, the gear motor, and the solenoid that's up in the back of the back box that smacks when you get an extra game. I forget what it's called. But anyway, that's how you test them with the software. So we already tested it with the machine and knew that it was firing, but we had not tested it with software. So wanted to go in and show everybody how to do that. I'm going to reach back in here. That plug is just pulled out far enough that disconnected. And then when I plug them back in, you'll hear the beacons and everything else fire. So that's going to be it for this video. We'll close this guy up, take the stuff off of here, and we'll restart the machine and play some pinball. The next video up is going to be a review of the 2.0 software. I'm sorry, 2.0 software, 3.0 software that's coming up. I'm going to run through some of the playlists, some of the differences between, I was on 1.7, some people had 2.0. Just going to show some things that I think are new in 3.0 and show off some of the tables. A lot of people want to see table lists and things like that. So I'm not going to run through every table. There's like 1,055 tables on this machine. So I'm going to run through some of my favorite wheels, show the tables that are on there and the ones that I play and that I find that my children play most of the time. So that video will be coming up next. And then as soon as I'm waiting on one more part. This is a real Stern flipper button, and this is a leaf switch holder that I 3D printed. I printed 2 of them. I'm going to be replacing this button right here with a leaf switch, Stern leaf switch button, and this is what it looks like when you attach the leaf switch to it. And I have a special set of LEDs that I've ordered that will go in here into this holder that will light that button up just the way it does on a real pin. So I know people are thinking that you cannot light up leaf switch buttons. So I have a video upcoming soon. I'm waiting on one more, the LEDs to actually come in the mail. And then I'm going to be replacing those buttons on the machine with LEDs. The one thing I do not know that is going to be super sketchy is those Stern buttons are 1 1/8 inches. And I'm hoping that because of the metal shroud on here, I'm hoping that when I pull this out, that those buttons will fit without any modification. If they do not, if they don't fit, then you might see me actually get crazy and actually make a template to go over this so that I can drill out this metal in the wood to make those buttons fit. which I know not everybody's going to be able to do, but hopefully they're going to fit. So anyway, little previews of the next 2 videos to come. I hope you enjoyed this one. Replacing a solenoid is really easy. Pretty much anybody can do it with a screwdriver and a socket wrench. So any questions, ask them down below, and I'll do my best to answer them in a timely manner. Thanks, guys.